everyone, my name is Kim and welcome back to Read It and Eat. Welcome back to Read It and Eat. I am here today to talk to you about two different books. Consider this a book duos or a book review, but most importantly, I want to talk about the intersection between food writing and specifically the food memoir, and when a food memoir also becomes travel writing. Now, as someone who reads a lot of nonfiction, predominantly nonfiction, I am often perusing different parts of bookstores or online catalogs to find the books that are just going to scratch the itch I'm looking for. I am really always interested specifically in chef memoirs or foodie memoirs, but also this weird intersection, maybe not weird, but intersection of travel writing. Now, travel writing is just like it sounds. It's an author in a new space, traveling and learning and discovering new things. Where this often intersects with food writing is a food memoir that involves travel. This probably sounds really obvious, but when you're searching for books, sometimes you're just going to different parts of the bookstore. I know, for example, if you go to Barnes & Noble's, there is a cookbook section and then a shelf, usually at least a shelf in my bookstore, of food writing books. But sometimes you might have to go to a different part of the store under near history or social sciences to find travel writing. I find travel writing to be more all-encompassing. It is going to a new space and learning about culture, history, and food is often an element of that. Versus food writing, food is the only element of that. I love when you get a food and travel writing book hybrid, which brings me to today's author, Felicity Cloake. Felicity Cloake has two books. I have read both and most recently finished Felicity Cloake's newest book, Bread Sauce, Brown Sauce, in my October reading. Felicity's first book, One More Croissant for the Road, came out in 2019. Part travelogue, part food memoir, all love letter to France. One More Croissant for the Road follows the nation's taster-in-chief, Felicity Cloake, on her very own Tour de France as she cycles 2,300 kilometers across France in search of culinary perfection. Now, this book is just like it sounds. It's a Tour de France. She literally cycles throughout France trying croissants in all different places. As you can see on the front even, it's got this really endearing map that follows along on the back. And it is, in total, just shy of 350 pages and came out from HarperCollins Publishers in 2019, as I mentioned. She actually, in the beginning of the book, actually gives you different stages so you know where she is biking to throughout the journey. And predominantly, she eats mostly croissants, but she does eat other things along the way, like cassoulet, ratatouille, and so on. I should preface, I also listened to both of these books because I really enjoyed Felicity Cloake's voice. I love a British accent narrator. Maybe that's just me and the American in me. Felicity Cloake's One More Croissant for the Road obviously features the croissant, but she eats across different meals along the journey. This is also prior to the pandemic. One Red Sauce, Brown Sauce came out in the UK earlier this year in 2023, but is just hitting shelves in the US market this October. By the time this video comes up, it'll be November, so the book is widely available. Now, this is also a Tour de biking trip, a cyclist trip, but this time she is traveling throughout the UK. Instead of one item, a croissant, she is focusing on breakfast. Breakfast stemming from the very well-known Great British Breakfast. Now, I didn't really know what a Great British Breakfast was coming into the book, but it covers the idea that breakfast is a cultural moment. It is not about eating a bowl of cereal. I should say, Americans, we eat and we go. We don't really sit down to enjoy breakfast like other cultures and communities do. It is something where I think the United States, at least, is very much programmed to eat for sustenance and not for pleasure. The Great British Breakfast is very much the opposite of that. Having your coffee, having your toast and sausages and eggs. And most importantly, the great debate of, do you have red sauce or brown sauce? Now, red sauce we can be familiar with as Americans as ketchup, but brown sauce is also not that as popular in the United States. To me, I thought brown sauce was a steak sauce. It really isn't a steak sauce. It sounds like it's a little bit more vinegary, but now I really want to try it after reading this book for so long. So, One More Croissant for the Road focuses on one item, a croissant, across many different day parts and meals, all around France. Red sauce, brown sauce, we are going all around the United Kingdom and only focusing on one major meal, breakfast. But that meal does change. So just like she gives you stages of where she is while in France, the same thing can be said within her introduction and table of contents for red sauce, brown sauce. In this book, she has also included a map, so you can see where her journey is throughout the book, which I found super interesting and endearing. So in red sauce, brown sauce, you're not getting whole meals perhaps as chapters, but you get things like sauce, butter, hog's pudding, honey, baked beans, marmite, oatcakes, kippers, all of these elements of British breakfast that I was like, wow, why do I not make more elaborate and delicious breakfasts? I really was kind of impressed. Right now I'm like on a smoothie kick, trying to incorporate greens into my smoothies. And more I have friends that remind me is that breakfasts don't have to be sweet. I think American breakfasts are predominantly sweet, like think cakes, donuts, even bagels, and very carb heavy. When you read something like red sauce, brown sauce, or even One More Croissant for the Road, you forget that breakfast can be really savory, especially the Great British breakfast that has the eggs, the sausages, the bacon, the toasties, and more. Now, obviously, it's very food forward. It is food writing through and through. But these are great books for the element of travel, because each chapter you are somewhere new in the story and literally in the world. As someone who has not thoroughly traveled either in the UK or France, I've been to Paris and I've been to London, it's really nice to learn about these small towns or these local communities that have traditions and dishes that quite honestly are going to die off in soon years because generations don't continue these kinds of traditions. I loved also in Red Sauce, Brown Sauce, at the end of each chapter, she interviews the friends that she was traveling with in the chapter to ask if they liked red sauce, brown sauce. And it just gives, there's no regional reason why some people love red sauce versus brown sauce. It might be community, it might be very well family driven, but I found that little level of humanity endearing, especially as she's cycling in the 1 year post-pandemic where we are still, things are loosening up, but we're still very much in COVID. She's wearing a mask all the time. I also like in the travelogue, the travel elements of this, the touching moments where she gets a flat tire and is just helped out by a nice couple whose house is literally on the side of the road. Or another story where she's learning about smoked kippers, where she's literally visiting a local store that's been in business for generations or is perhaps a new business, and they literally take her out back and teach her how things are done. I think Felicity Cloake is an A-star textbook example of part travelogue, part food writing, where it really comes together and it has a nice, cozy, leisurely pace. We are traveling the world with her. We are seeing her ups and downs, and sometimes quite literally her injuries. We get to meet a revolving cast of people. We get to travel with her, but also have this connective thread that makes it easy to follow, which for red sauce, brown sauce is quite literally breakfast. And at the end, you do get a final tally. Do people prefer that red sauce or brown sauce? And I'm not gonna spoil it for you, but I was really interested to see that tally at the end. Or in One More Croissant for the Road, you get to travel France and to see how important the croissant is and other regional dishes. Let me know in the comments below, have you ever read this kind of travel log space? I believe Bill Buford is someone who would fall in this space. He's written a lot of, I see his books more in the travel section, but he has written about food related things like his most recent book, Dirt. So let me know if you have any suggestions or recommendations. I hope you consider picking up one of Felicity Cloake's books. I'll have them linked down below with my bookshop affiliate and my Libro FM account storefront should you want to pick these up. Please don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.